All right, way to go, Lane.
Nice job.
Very, very good job.
The guy that's most impressed with Lane's progress? Her stunt coordinator boyfriend, Art.
It's like night and day the difference of your riding ability now versus what you were doing.
Cool. Oh, you're supposed to ride on the back of Lane's bike? That's what I heard. Isn't that right?
You mean you're gonna make me do it?
Oh, yeah.
Just think of it as a stunt.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, yeah. Okay.
Well, usually it's the ladies riding on the back, so it's kind of cool to see Art riding behind Lane, and hell, I'd ride behind Lane.
Lane has come a long way, from being left in the dust to leading the pack. She's proven to her friends and herself that she has what it takes to reach her goals. For Lane, motorcycling was a passion that was unattainable. But it just goes to show you that with the proper coaching and the right attitude, anyone can reach their goals. I'm Chris Carmichael. Thanks for joining us.
Right now on Daily Planet, the art and science of the lean. We sign up for Superbike School in California, where physics and inventions make for one hell of a ride around the track.
Plus custom-built mega yachts. We'll show you how one company who builds Navy ships can also build some very swanky pleasure craft.
And the Pinocchio of the skies. We'll find out what this F-15 and its growing nose have to do with keeping things hush-hush. And we are not telling lies.
Hello there, welcome to another fabulous edition of Daily Planet. I'm Natasha Stillwell.
I'm Jangram. Also on the show, we will show you an ancient dig that gives a whole new meaning to the term Big Bird.
And the lovely Jay gets together with the lovely John Swain on Fact of the Matter to create some spectacular bubbles.
But first, gearing up for a school day on a superbike. Kashi Dalashai loves to speed through the California hills, but he has a problem. He can't keep up with his riding buddies.
Halfway through the canyons, I don't even see them. They're at the bottom of the canyon having a picnic by the time I get down there.
Yeah, right. I was having a hard time with this.
So he's going back to school, the California Superbike School.
Most people don't ride, I would say, probably to 50% of the capacity or the ability of the bike.
He hopes to hone his skills with the help of some very cool teaching technology. But best of all for Kashi, the school is run by one of his heroes, biking guru Keith Code.
He would be basically the Lance Armstrong of motorcycling.
I think I was about 5 or 6 when I saw somebody ride by on a motorcycle, and I thought, you know, I gotta get me one of those.
Code went on to become a superbike racer in the 1970s. He knew he had the skills of a top rider, but he didn't really understand what those skills were.
And asking other riders, even really, really good ones, didn't yield anything but sort of this half-cocked advice, you know, and I thought, no, it's got to be something more to it than this. We have some physics involved here, we have some geometry involved here. You know, if you're applying that to something specifically, there must be a right way to do it.
He spent years searching for that right way.
If you begin the corner too early, you create a decreasing radius corner.
Now he runs riding clinics worldwide, teaching regular guys like Kashi on one of the hottest sport bikes around.
2005 Kawasaki's 636 displacement. They're top of the line 600 sport bike, and they handle like a dream.
James Toohey is Kashi's coach.
They'll get their briefing, they'll go out on track, they'll try and apply what we just described to them or what they learned. So and then I'll just go out and watch them and make sure that they're doing it correctly.
One of the hardest things to do correctly on a sport bike is leaning over in a turn. That can be downright scary.
The rider who is afraid of lean angle, of course, anything that you're afraid of on a motorcycle is going to be the next thing that gets you.
So Code and his team invented this contraption. They call it the lean and slide bike.
What we do with this machine is try to take some of the fear out of leaning the machine over.
The bike is fitted with 2 articulated arms. They allow the bike to lean, but prevent it from going too far or sliding sideways.
What we're able to do in this environment here, this skid pad environment, is put the rider into a corner that can virtually last forever.
The coach can then watch and give instant feedback while the student gets the feel of things safely.
Then the lean angle doesn't bother them so much.
Elevate your heel with your calf muscle, right?
Right.
Then you're driving your knee into the tank.
They have good sense of how much the bike is actually leaning over, and they're not afraid because you see riders twisting up on top of the bike, and that's a response, a reaction. It's one of our survival reactions to leaning the motorcycle over, because leaning over isn't really something that humans do very often. You know, we like to be straight up and down, or we like to be, you know, prone, laying down, taking a nap or whatever.
That was incredible. I'll tell you, it's it just makes your whole upper body relax, with the exception of the throttle, and with your legs and your calf muscles digging your knee into the tank, you can stabilize the bike.
Keeping the bike stable and smooth through a corner is one of the most important skills to learn. Leaning effectively is part of it. So is finding a safe entry speed into a corner.
Say like you're riding around in the street and you get into a corner too fast, right? You want to slow down, so someone might grab a handful of front brake and crash.
Well, locking up the front wheel is probably one of the most fear-inducing activities on a motorcycle, because you really totally lose directional control, and it really wants to fall down quite quickly.
But what if riders could experience panic braking safely?
Here we have my very first training tool, invention, I suppose, if you like. And what we call this is the panic brake bike. And these outriggers here are solid mounted, so that when we teach the rider to understand and learn how to control a front wheel skid on the bike, even if the motorcycle actually tucked the front wheel completely, which is what happens if the rider doesn't understand it and doesn't know how to bring it back into control, the worst that'll happen is that the bike just goes over that far.
If I lock the front wheel and that touches the ground, that's a crash.
Chief mechanic Will Eikenberry fabricated the device.
Most of the modern bikes have a engine as a stress member, so they don't have a lower frame. So I had to build a lower frame for this bike to attach this point to.
The three-point design safely spreads the force of impact.
This machine gives the rider the feel with the front brake lever of, yeah, just a little lightening on the lever, and the bike comes right back into their control. It gives them good training one way or the other. They've experienced it, so they've done the limit now without $3,000 worth of damage to their motorcycle, which is great.
So, would it be possible for you to sacrifice a little bit of speed to make sure you get yourself set up for the last corner?
Yeah.
Okay, so a little adjustment in the beginning. You know, have you ever heard that term? Slow in, fast out.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next time, all right?
At one point, he pulled me off the track and gave me a couple of pointers that literally, once I got back on the track, I was just flying through the turns.
Okay, Jed. You get to ride the camera bike.
Beyond verbal pointers, students also benefit from seeing their mistakes. A specially rigged bike cam provides a unique point of view.
Again, you're holding a really good line around the track, nice and close to your apex.
You tell somebody to do it a certain way, and they go out and they think they're doing it, and they're not. And sometimes they still don't believe you. And then we got the video, we look at the video, and they're like, oh, I see what you're talking about.
Be on the gas a little bit more through there.
Yeah, I was slow.
Yeah.
That whole lap for me was slow.
At the end of a two-day session, Kashi knows he still has a lot to learn. The pros say you never stop learning. But he also knows how far he's come.
I go through some of these turns that I could barely make when I first started, and now it's just automatic. It's just amazing how much control you can have on a bike.